Stream status. Oh, dude, I never... Oh, God, I did it again. Alright, everybody on Twitch. Everybody on Twitch, I apologize, but we're going to go through this yet again. This is some tricky stuff, apparently. So, welcome to another game dev live stream. We are working in Unreal Engine blueprints, and this basically works like an AMA Q&A. Come in, ask questions. It's kind of like office hours. We're talking about Unreal Engine blueprints, visual scripting, front-end characters, all those kinds of things. Any questions that you may have, that's what we're working on. And my name is Kevin. I seem to have yet done it again. We were on the Twitch stream. We just hadn't clicked the button to go live with YouTube again. So my mistake, everybody. But we're here now. We're good to go. We learned the lesson 5 minutes sooner this time, which is great. I currently work as a senior principal tech artist at Riot Games. I work in R&D. I get to do a lot of really cool stuff. But as much cool stuff as there is, there's a lot to learn still, and there's a lot going on with Unreal Engine, so I get a chance to work on a lot of other cool things I don't get to do at the day job. Now, the way this works, like I said, is like office hours. I kicked this off today by saying I am hoping that a bunch of you have a lot of questions, because I am getting my butt kicked by the input system right now. And we are going to be stumbling through that for sure today if we don't actually have any questions. So we're going to hop back into Unreal. Again, everybody on Twitch, sorry for the reintro, I apologize. But we had to make sure that we were set up right for YouTube. And let's hop back into Unreal, and I'll catch you all up to speed on what we're doing. But the general gist is, because we don't have any questions, we're still working on the working prototype that I'm making. And specifically, to show you all the problem that we're having, let me get rid of this breakpoint. If I move forward, hold on, let me escape out and do that again. If I move forward, here's what I want. Basically, I'm pressing WASD, and you can't see me doing it, but I'm going to press the W key, single press. My character evades and then runs. It's not what we want. This is the weird part. So W does that, S does that, A does that, D does not. If I press the D key, the character just runs. When I press the D key, it does what I want it to do, which is I want a double tap to activate the evade. This is kind of from our last stream. So if I double tap D, that works. That's exactly what we want our character to do. So I'm trying to figure out why it is that this evade is messed up on the other three keys but works fine on the D key. So some of the work that we've been doing to figure that out is basically we're working with the enhanced input system. And what happened was, in the last stream, we realized that we wanted to try a double tap on our inputs. But I have also since realized there's a lot of potential questions with that. But let me show you what we're doing here first. So I originally tried implementing the double tap by trying to use combos or combo actions in the enhanced input system. None of those were working properly. Interestingly enough, I also found that it seemed like the behavior changed if the keyboard mouse input was an override or not. So I thought that was interesting. So right now I'm making all my changes on the base default set just to see what happens. But let's put a breakpoint in here and let me show you what's happening. So anyways, I found some C++ that supposedly does double tap, but again, I don't think it's actually working. So let's go through this. We're going to step through this. If I press the W key, we're going to hit our breakpoint and just explain what we're looking at. This is supposed to be our trigger double tap implementation, and I've made some changes to it. And what we're going to do is, first thing it does is it gets just a couple of variables. So the current state, in this case, the current state is a 2. And if we look at our enumerator for our input triggers, the trigger state, we have 3. We have none, ongoing, and triggered. Okay, so a 2 is basically that we've triggered. Then we have our current time, our the the last value, or the current value, which we're getting off our modified value, and then the old value. So let's take a look at what these are, because this is the hints and clues, I think, of what we're currently chasing down. So our modified value is 1, 0. Right? That's our current value, 1, 0. X, 1 in X, 0 in Y. Our last value, or our previous value, is 0, 0. That makes sense because we hadn't pressed a key yet. So if we step through this and we look at this, is our modified value actuated? Yes. Is our current state the same as is our current value the same as the previous value? No, because we didn't have a key press, we pressed the key, they're not the same. And also we're counting the number of times we've actually released the key. So that is not true, we're not going to go in there. And then we have, is actuated last value? Nope, it's not, because remember our last value, nothing was pressed. And our trigger state is currently not none. What this does is it basically makes sure that we've released the button. So if let's say our last value was pressing forward and we let go. So the minute we let go, our last value becomes pressing forward, and we now currently have no state. So that's basically measuring that we released the last pressed key, which counts them. So if we just go ahead and run again, we're going to come back in here. We're going to go back through these, set all of our variables. Our current value is 0, 0. We have nothing pressed. And our previous value is 1, 0, because remember that was what came when we pressed the D key. Now, we're not going to come in here again because our release count is not interesting. Oh, we have a tap count. Our release count is not greater than our tap count. And also our current value, which is 0, does not equal our previous value. And that's because we're no longer pressed and our previous value was pressed. So that's interesting. That may be a bug. There might be a bug in our logic right there. This right here. But what is true is the last value was pressed. So that was true, and we are no longer pressing it. So we are actually going to increase our release count, which is cool. Now, if we play, so currently our last value is 1. Interesting. Okay, if I press that key again, when we come in here, our previous value, interesting, our previous value is 0 again. And our current value is 1. 0 again, 1. And we go back. So that's basically what's happening. But the clue that I was looking at was, so this basically goes and it increases the trigger count, but then because we've let go, we're going to stop. But the point of all that, the point of showing you all of that was, now you understand kind of what the double tap trigger code actually looks like. But look at this, if I press the D key, take a look at our current value, 1, 0. Okay. Now let's do the same thing for the W key. Our W key, current value, is also 1, 0. So I am not believing that basically what this is telling me, or what I think is happening is WASD is not actually using these axes. None of these are actually being set. So as a result of that, what that means is I was thinking that maybe these are the gamepad values. So let's test that. And that's what I was just about to do before I realized that the stream was having some troubles. Okay, so what we were doing was we were updating our gamepad, our default gamepad. This is our move. This uses the thumbstick, and it has no triggers and a dead zone. And I just added the ability to evade to the gamepad, and I put it on, and this is what we're trying. This is like a total shot in the dark. I put this on a double tap with everything else the same. So what I'm thinking is, one, if we play, do we hit the breakpoint now? So let's grab our gamepad and let's see. So, doesn't look like it. Oh, no. We got rid of our breakpoint, didn't we? Yes, we did. Okay. Not dead yet. Okay, so let's try this again. So far, nothing. Okay, so this was the other half of what I was concerned about. Anyways, if I'm on my gamepad, the idea of doing a double tap with the thumbstick, like it's not even hitting that breakpoint. Double tap implementation, update state. Interesting. So even if the thumbstick is the actual true axis, we're not actually getting the value that we want out of this. If we sword tack, we can basically. This is cool behavior. In other words, we're attacking and then we're evading. Attack, evade. Attack, evade. This is working well. The problem is, I feel like I want to be able to control the evade. More like a dash. And this gets tricky. This gets tricky for a couple of reasons, because we also need to be able to jump. Here's our jump. What I was thinking here, okay, I'm going to explain what I was thinking. Okay, what I was thinking was, is the double tap really the way we want to go? Is that going to make player input a little bit confusing? And then I thought, maybe I could just move it to space. The problem is, space on the keyboard right now is jump. And our, oh, this is not working. No, hold on, let me get past the breakpoint. And what's happening is so space is jump on the keyboard, and shift is the dash. So what I was thinking was, we're just going to replace dash with evade. And if you're in combat, it would use evade, and if you're not in combat, you could use a dash. But there's a couple problems with this. First off, shift is not intuitive for me at all. The double tap is really nice. I can do the evade very easily. So that's part of it. If I were to put, I think the thing that would be intuitive from an evade or a dash standpoint would be if it was on space. The problem is, space is jump, and we want to keep jump. So I'm running out of intuitive player inputs that don't feel like a death grip, that your hands aren't going to get cramped as you're playing. So I think I really want to get this double tap working, one, just because the principle of it is frustrating. I want to figure it out. But even with, and also without the double tap, I think things get difficult from a dash standpoint. Now, if I get double tap working, and I want to, I can make it so that evade happens in combat. And if you're out of combat, it's dash, for example. Or we may just get rid of dash entirely. If you could just run around evading all the time, I would be okay with that. If you were running and you hit it again, that would be the evade. If I'm running and I hit it again. Oh, interesting, that works. If I'm running and I let off and hit the other direction, it evades. Oh, that's cool. Man, we are so close. It kind of works. So this feels pretty good. I would probably never even use. I would probably never even use dash if I had this. But anyways, the other thing that we would need to do is if we're in combat, we would still maintain the invincibility. But if we're out of combat, we don't want people, we don't want players just rolling across the level, invincible the whole way there, getting to the end point and never having to fight. So that's something gamers will game it, right? So okay, this is our dilemma. This is our conundrum. Now, it does not solve the problem. I thought we were going to solve the problem with this double tap on the gamepad, but we don't. So gamepad, let's play with the gamepad a little bit. So we have here a run around. The thing that works about the gamepad is by pressing on the thumbstick, we have our dash. That's pretty cool. So that's pretty intuitive, I think. As a result of that, that does mean that... Interesting. When I first tried that jump after dash... Okay, so our jump is there. That's crouch. I feel like the gamepad, all we have to do is change the A key to evade, and the B key could be jump. Because I feel like this is attack, this would be parry. That's our power attack. We could even put it on the left bumper. There's a lot more options with the gamepad actually. So let's try a couple things here with the gamepad. Let's see if we can make this feel good with the gamepad, because that seems to be working. And then we'll spend less time in code. Ooh, lots of errors. Okay, no, we're not gonna worry about those right now. Okay, so for our gamepad, I'm going to move jump to be gamepad face button. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's use it left. And then let's make evade. Let's trash this. Whoa. Let's trash all of this. And let's make this the bottom button. So that's evade. And then our triggers are going to be... Oh, I wonder if we can use a double tap on this. Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay. Well, no. Let's just do press first. Okay. Let's try this real quick, just to make sure that we have this working. So let's go ahead and play that. Got our trusty gamepad back out. Now, if I run forward, wait a second. So hold up a second. Either I did not save this, or jump gamepad is player mappable. Yep. And player mappable options is going to be, let's do evade, caps lock, evade gamepad, and then the display name is going to be evade. It's funny because who was it that was asking a question about inputs in one of our recent videos? I believe it was Tecmo. Yep. We were talking about the input system, and we just happened to be working with it this morning. It's cool. See how the stream is going. Okay, so we've got our chats up. We have our Weston, how are we doing this morning? See you on Sunday. Thanks for hopping in. Another class coming later this week. For loops. Should be cool. Alright, let's see. So we have our gamepad, we're saving it. We've got our evade gamepad, and then the jump display category. Hold on a second. Name, display name, and display category. Name. Oh, we've got these in weird order. Have a great weekend, by the way. Okay, so we've got gamepad. And then we have the category is going to be the gamepad. Okay, so let's save this. And let's try this again. And this time, hopefully... Okay, so our jump is still messed up. It's not messed up, it's just that jump is using the key that we should be using. So I'm wondering if it's because of our options. So let's check what our user options are here for our mouse and keyboard or our gamepad. Default keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and mouse, gamepad. Interesting. We don't have controller hardware. I don't see. So here's our Xbox controller. For some reason, I don't actually see. These are dead zones. I don't actually see this stuff showing up here, which is interesting. So maybe this interface is not set up to handle. Interesting. Okay. Supply. Go back. If we press A, it's still our jump key. What the world is going on, man? This is default gamepad. Oh, you know what? Maybe the problem is we are using melee gamepad. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, we gotta rebuild these. So can we copy this? Nope. So let's go back to our melee gamepad and let's add. Interesting. I don't know if we saw this stuff show up on the list, but let's add another mapping, and this is going to be the evade again, and we're going to use gamepad button here. Where's our jump? We're going to switch our jump, and then we're going to say it's mappable, and just for kicks, this is going to be evade gamepad, and then copy this. We're going to copy all this stuff over. Okay. Save that, check that out, and here we go. Maybe this is going to work. Okay. Yes. Okay, that feels pretty good. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, because I think I'm used to pressing. I think on a gamepad I'm used to pressing the A key or the bottom one to fire. even though oh, interesting. We would have to disable the actually our gamepad is working exactly the way we want this to work, in the sense that it's not doing weird stuff. So I'm holding the key, or the direction thumbstick, and I'm attacking, and then I have the ability to evade afterwards. I think this is just a matter of getting used to it, and we'll be alright. I do have a tendency to press the evade button again, simply because I'm used to that being the attack button on, like, I think if you grew up Nintendo style, you're used to smashing those input attack buttons, because there was no thumbstick. But I think it's just a matter of I just need to put my Halo brain on, and I'll be alright. So this is great. This is actually working the way I would like it to. The one thing that I need to figure out is, I swear... Oh, dude. Oh, this is actually kind of cool. Oh wait, no it's not. So there's still an evade that's happening as a result of the thumbstick. Okay, let me see if I can show you guys what's happening here. When I attack with this guy, if I attack and press any direction on my thumbpad, you'll see that I just evaded. Okay? This was something that we set up in the sword combo, I believe it was. If I'm pressing the thumbstick and I attack and I continue pressing the thumbstick, you'll notice she does not evade. But if I'm pressing the thumbstick and I attack and I press my evade button, it works. Also, if I don't attack and I'm pressing the thumbstick, I can evade. If I'm pressing the thumbstick and I just continue to hold it, then I can do that. So I don't think we want evade after our attacks if we move. I don't think we want to force the player to move. So let's take that out. Let's just get this working nicely on the gamepad, and then we'll figure out what in the world is going on with the keyboard and mouse. Okay, so... Oh, interesting. I didn't even think to try the mouse. Okay, we'll get to the mouse in a second. Let's take a look at our sword combo. So this is going to be sword combo. Here we go. And what we're going to do is in here, we were doing this. If evade is activated, we do the evade stuff. And I think we're going to take that out because it's cool, but let's just take it out. We're going to take it out. And it's very simple. I'm not going to actually remove the stuff because I may need to bring it back. I'm just going to disconnect the pen right now. And when we do that, we should be able to retest our gamepad and make sure that as we go forward, if we attack and move, we can do that. Now the interesting thing is, oh wow, okay, so that's interesting. So basically that's working in the sense that I attack, and if I move, I'm not triggering the evade. But if I attack and I want to evade, I can. And that I think feels pretty good. Does it though? Attack. Attack. Evade. Attack. Evade. Attack. Evade. Attack. Evade. We're going to have to play with this. We're going to have to play with this a lot. Let's put an enemy in here and see how tough this is with this. I'll drop one enemy in. I believe last time we couldn't really do much. Ooh. Oh. She's too fast. Dang. Nope, this is not easy. She's too slow. Feels bad. Ooh, feels really bad. Oh my goodness. Oh, and she picked up a gun. Well, the enemies work. That's good. I almost got her though. Okay. Wow, that feels really bad. That does not feel fun at all. That was not the way I was expecting that to go. Let's try this again. The problem is there's no attack window for us. She's so good. Okay, there it was. Actually, I think I got it. Oh, I missed it. Okay, that worked. Okay, so, how much health do I have? 50. At least I survived that time. Let's try again. I think this skill set here is you can't just go in. You have to. We need to do evade. Whoa, the evade's too far now. Okay, we're going to have to make our enemy attack sequences a little bit. Okay, so that double one, we have to wait till the triple one. Alright, this is just getting to know the enemies. Ah. $70. I did better that time. Okay, so a couple things. That error is nothing. Couple things. Let's take a look at our sword combo. And we are going, I think we're traveling too far with, no, not our sword combo. I think our evade is taking us too far. So it's moving us out of combat. Out of range of my sword. So let's adjust this curve, which is here. Let's bring that down a little bit. Let's try with that. Alright, so we can't just go running in, which is kind of cool. Oh, I messed that up already. Oh man. How is she doing that? Alright, did dodge. Ooh. Man. Ah. Okay. This does not feel good yet. I think there's hints of it, but it doesn't feel good, and I'm trying to determine whether it's because I'm just not good at my game yet, or the enemies are too powerful. Wow, he comes out. Okay, so part of the problem is the enemies, there's no window of attack if I'm trying to melee an enemy. If I'm attacking, yeah, there's no window of attack. The enemy is already attacking. There's no break between their attacks. And so the issue is, it makes melee not fun right now. So if I time this enemy, one, he does one. Oh, and it's so fast to go straight back into that combo. Can I do that fast? So do your combo, 1, 2, 3, attack. I still think we're going too far. I know why. It's because we're moving. It's because we're moving at the same time. So our evade feels further because we're moving. But we need to be moving because we need the direction. Okay, I got it. I think I get it. Wait, let's go back to our curve and let's bring this back down a little bit. So we're not going so far. Let's try 0.6. What if it just didn't invade? Nope, that doesn't work. Hmm. 80. That's the best I've done so far. Yeah, this feels like a wet noodle fight right now. This doesn't feel like... Seems like it was going to be purposeful, but it doesn't seem purposeful yet. And I think it's because... If we both strike at the same time, that feels like maybe that shouldn't be... Ah, second. What? Behind the back? Oh, come on. There's no way. Okay, this is just testing after testing after testing, trying to figure out, is it a case of the inputs I made aren't good, or I'm just not used to them? That was awful. No, see, that should have been my window. This behind the back thing is kind of bad. 80 again. Okay, so there's a couple things here. I feel like there should be some kind of... The idea of trying to parry this, I think evade is parry, basically. If we replaced evade with parry, and we could just stand there, and they couldn't hit us. Let's try that. Maybe evade is not the right answer, so let's try this. Let's get parry in here. So right now for gamepad, do we have parry? We do not. So let's add in our parry. So let's do parry. And we're going to put it on Let's try left bumper initially. And yes, we would make it player mappable. And it's going to be, this is going to be parry gamepad. What are we using for our display so we stay consistent? So here's our parry gamepad, and it's going to be in the gamepad section. All right. We still have good connection. All right. So this is the name, parry gamepad, and we're triggering the melee parry. So let's save this. It's on our thumb pad, and I'm pretty sure this is not going to work the way we want it to initially, because a long time ago our parry was messed up, but it is parrying. The problem is it doesn't hold it. Okay, that wasn't fun, but it worked. Once I got the timing, I think it would have felt better. I think it would feel better just to hold it. I think it would feel better to hold it. So we need to take a look at our parry ability. Let's take a look at our parry ability. Parry. Here's our parry. And I think what we need to do is we need to change parry. Let's see this. So this is parry, and the way it works is it works a lot like the rest of our gameplay abilities. We're going to play montage and wait. But what I think we want to do is let's change this to crouch. Let's take a look at how crouch is implemented. Okay, what does crouch... Let's see what crouch is used for. W, crouch, touch button. Oh, that's the deal. And then this is our input data. And crouch, I don't see crouch. Oh, it's a native input action. Oh, interesting. This is native input, which means I believe it is on shooter mannequin. Let's take a look. Shooter man. Here's our shooter mannequin. And let's see here. Event graph. I don't actually see it here though. That's tick. This is move, power attack, and jump. How in the world is crouch? Let's change our filter here. These are all anims. We don't need any of these anims. That's our touch buttons. That's our input action. Katana blades. That's rifle crouch, pistol crouch. Pistol crouch entry. Reference viewer. Interesting. I swear I saw where this was implemented. Vinny! Came for gas content. Nice. That's exactly where we are right now, actually. Thanks for sharing your... Thanks for hopping in the channel. Good morning. Did you have actually any questions? Rather than, you know, me specifically stumbling through this? I am currently, just because you missed it, we're in the process of working with the gameplay ability system, interestingly enough. And we're trying to get our inputs to feel good. And so far it's not happening super well. But we have our input hero data, we have our crouch, we have our input tag for crouch. What we're doing is we're looking for where the crouch ability is actually done. And I thought that's jump. This is crouch. An auto run. I thought it was done on the shooter. Here, let's check in. Let's check in here. Crouch. Nope. So I guess maybe crouch isn't an no, it is an ability. It is absolutely an ability. Because it's part of the data set. I think. Oh no, maybe it's not. Hold on. Let's do this. There's another way to find this. If we look for parry and we take a look at our reference viewer, this is actually part of our ability set. Oh, crouch may not be an ability. Our gameplay ability parry is an ability. Let's take a look at this ability set. Okay. And what we've got is, this is sword combo, power combo, and parry. Okay, but that's applied. So what is the base ability set? Let's take a look at ability set. Oh, you know what? I'm going to repeat your questions, by the way, Vinny, because we're also streaming on Twitch as well. So, Vinny's saying AI in general, not super happy with the way the AIs are all grouping up and around the player and trying to learn better approaches for it. What are you currently trying? Because we did a whole... Here, I can actually show you. Am I going to get killed if I do this? You know, whatever, it's fine. I believe, no. I can remake myself invincible again. Let's do that. We did a bunch of stuff with trying to find groupings that felt good. I'd be curious to see what you are doing differently. In this case, that's adding the impulse. That's reporting the damage. This is initialization, damage immune. I believe this is what we want. We're going to add damage immune back to ourselves. Okay, and then let's spawn like 10 enemies. We haven't done this in a while. We can do a quick recap. Spawn point. Of course it's not gonna work. We did all that work. Let's do let's just start with 6. Okay. Hopefully I'm immune, otherwise they're going to seriously whoop up on me. My shield should go. Okay, I'm immune. So what they're doing is effectively, and this is easier to see with the control stick, they're all, and our attack ranges are messed up, but basically what they do is they will take up positions. Oh man, we gotta fix this. You know what? Let's change this. We did some hacking. Let's see here. Our enemy Our sword combo is using a range to attack, which was, where was that? Movement. Let's take a look at our enemy. Enemy, fight, and here's our melee. We could just take melee out, but if we go into the melee here and we change our range to, I think it's probably $250. Oh, I see what you're doing. 150, 250. Let's try 150. They're probably not going to attack much this way if we play. So they kind of take up positions all around the player to get into melee position. Now, if they're too far away, theoretically they won't attack. Obviously, I'm gonna get beaten up, but it took us a while to just get to the point where they took up enemy positions like this, where they weren't all stacked up on top of each other. So that took a while. And if we increase our spawn count, let's try 12. And I may actually change this to 100. If we go ahead and do the attack range a little bit, I'm supposed to be using the sword's attack range, not their attack range. So we have 12 of them. As they take up positions, if they're really close, but you'll see they're forming up in groups around the character based on these rings that kind of specify where they go. And if they're in range, they'll attack. And if they're not in range, then they basically sit outside in these kind of attacking positions. Now, this is only for the melee characters. I don't know where she's going. Like, what is she doing? Interesting. Anyways, but to your point, they don't take turns. If they're in range, they're all going to attack. Part of the reason for that is, and I may discover that we changed that very quickly based on the way that things are going right now in general. Part of the reason for that is I'm trying to make the enemies feel smarter. And if you and I were playing together and we were attacking a player, we wouldn't take turns. We would just be wailing on the player, whoever it is. You'd be over there shooting them, and I'd be over there stabbing them with a sword or whatever it is. We probably would not be taking turns. And so I'm curious to see. I'm going to try to make it so that the enemies, they are aware of other enemies. Like, for example, they won't attack through another enemy, but they're not going to necessarily take turns based on the overall thing. I'm trying to think. I think I did a turn-based system at one point, and it was all about a token, a priority attack token, basically, and the enemies would pass it around. Who has the football, basically, and they would attack based on that. So let's go back to our one enemy for now, and what we were trying to do was, we were looking for where the heck crouch happened. I'm excited that you're doing this. I'm looking for, hopefully when you figure it out, Vinny, come back and share what it was that you did in order to get it working, or what system you decided on. So those are our quick slots. These are components. Here's our ticks. This is our move. They went to totally random positions. How are you determining their positions? There's our power attack. There's our tri jump. Yes, I am now. Originally it was all from scratch, and then for networking purposes and replication and everything like that, I rebuilt on the Lyra base. Although I've digressed pretty far at this point. I think what's going to end up happening is once I get to the working prototype, I'm going to re-gut the whole thing again. I'll get to the working prototype because the goal is to get to a working prototype where we can all play test together. That's the goal. It's like the full journey from scratch to a play testable game with players on the internet. And then once I get there and we're playing a level and we're having fun, then I think it's going to be like, okay, let's make this game. I basically randomize a boolean left or right and move towards the player with the direction added to it. Oh, I see. You actually literally mean strafe. Do you check the character? I mean, there's a lot of things I have questions about. We would have to go over it, but I'm wondering, just curiosity wise, like when you have them move towards the player, the ones that go haywire, like have you turned on debug stuff to see if it's just a case of they're facing the wrong way when they decide to strafe and stuff? So far we're not finding crouch. We have is crouching. Oh, is it in the anim graph? No, it can't be in the anim graph. Start up. Foot plant. Set cover stand. Crouch. This is it. This is where we crouch. Or I mean, this is how the enemies crouch. They basically just call crouch. And crouch is in code. So what in the world triggers this? So we're basically just looking for a call. Wait a minute, if this is in code, this could be being called anywhere in my code. Current project, find all. This may be all code based. Okay, hold on a second. This is going to be, I'm not gonna worry about this. No, I don't want the Unreal. What? It's not gonna be in there. It's not gonna be in our SQL stuff. Phone controllers. And what folder is this looking in? Let's look in. This is going to be in Lyra starter game, source, select, find all. Okay, so here's our third person. That's our camera mode. These are all our crouch offsets. I know it's fun to go through code, y'all, but I'm trying to figure out where all this is happening. Crouch. Here we go. Crouch and uncrouch. What is this? Crouch. Toggle crouch. Are you kidding me? Okay, so it's called toggle crouch. That's what we're looking for. Now let's check and see where toggle crouch is being. That's the hero component. Okay, so we have the hero component calls toggle crouch when we call input crouch. I think we just found it. So let's do two things. Let's look inside our blueprints for toggle crouch just to make sure this isn't it. I'm pretty sure this isn't it because this is a code thing. It's not. So the one we're looking for is input crouch. It does not show in any blueprints, which is interesting if we're looking at our oh, it's just being called because of the input action. Wow. Sometimes when they do this stuff with Lightroom where they'll take everything will be in Blueprint except for the one thing that's in code. Okay, let's see here. So this is our default gamepad. That's jump. Here's crouch. Our input crouch. No. Undo. If we take a look at this, here's our input action crouch. I believe that this is just being pressed. So what's happening is our input action is being called simply because we are pressing the thing in our keyboard and mouse. Okay, so we found where crouch is coming from. So it's not an ability, basically. It's a state. We're toggling crouch. This is all because we were trying to find. This is all because we were trying to find a way to make it so we could parry. What an adventure. So we basically take the move component, we check if it's crouched, and if we basically do crouch or uncrouch. This isn't even what we want. Okay, so what we need, okay, back to what we need to do. Gameplay ability system. That was a wild goose chase, but we have a much better understanding of how crouch works. That's cool. So here's the thing. I think, what is this, parry? Why would I ignore? Oh, I see. Okay, so the way parry is working is we're playing this montage and we're waiting. But the problem is because we're playing the montage doesn't have a parry state. It's not like you can, like, for example, imagine parry being an arm block. What I'm trying to get to is I'm trying to see if we can just do an arm block and the character is just walking around with the arm block up. And as long as the arm block is there, they're actively parrying. And it's okay for them to walk around and stuff when they're doing it. So we're going to make some changes to the way this parry works. So first things first, let's stop ignoring the input. I know that's going to be weird. And in our end, we don't need to restore the input. Let's just... Interesting. We may want to keep this. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're going to activate the ability. When we press, we're going to activate parry. When we release, we're going to deactivate it. I think that may be the way to go. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to come in here. We're not going to do playing the montage thing. We're going to apply the gameplay effect to ourselves. Interesting. And we are waiting for melee hits. If we get them. Okay, so let's clean up a bunch of this stuff. We don't need this, they're not being used. This is broadcasting a message for what? Parry duration. Well, we're going to try to just do an infinite parry effectively. So we'll move that up here. We're going to skip the montage and wait. What's going to happen now is when we do this, we're going to basically come in here, we're going to get our shooter mannequin, we're going to apply the immunity to ourselves while we're parrying. We're going to set that handle. Then we're going to wait for melee hits. And we're going to compare the teams. And this is just a sort of, I don't think we need any of this. Let's just get rid of this. Okay. So then all we're doing is applying immunity to ourselves. When this ability ends, though, we do want to get rid of our immunity. Otherwise, we're just going to walk around immune all the time. We don't need to, we don't need to remove our input stuff because we're not doing that anymore. So this should be a lot simpler now. We should basically just be coming in and granting an immunity. Now, this is probably not the best way to do this, because what I'm thinking is, what we may want to do here instead is just put a gameplay effect on ourselves called parry immunity, which is effectively what we're doing. And then we would remove that effect when we release the button. That's interesting. But eventually we're going to want to play an animation. So I think we'll stick with this because we are going to want to play an animation. So we'll put the immunity on, we'll set the handle, la-di-da-di-da. Okay, so let's see if, so that's that. Now let's take and look at our melee keyboard and mouse. Nope. Default. Default keyboard and mouse. Do we have parry? Evade. Dash. Reload. No, we do not. Melee keyboard and mouse. Yes, we do have a parry. It's on the F key. So we can try this. So if we do this, we could do hold. Okay, so that worked. I have granted myself immunity by pressing the F key, even though I'm not parrying. But I parried, I added immunity, but what has happened is our ability has not ended. And we can see that if we take a look at the abilities, give the parry, right? So that's that. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out how to link this to the actual key. So this is going to be melee parry. The trigger. We need to end this ability. Oh, my brain is hurting this morning. So we could end this ability after a certain amount of time, but really what we want to do is we want to end it after we let go of the key. So we're going to activate the abilities with the tag with the F key. So you're triggering immunity. So Vinny's triggering immunity with an anima notify event tag, so I can use it with other situations like parry, dash, or block, for instance. Yes, that is cool. My only thing is, right now the character is not animating. But yes, if I had animation, I could trigger it. So there's two pieces to this. There's two parts to this that I have to figure out. One is whatever the animation is, keeping that loop going. So looping the animation in the middle of the ability. I actually haven't done that yet. It's weird because I do that all the time at work, but the system at work is a lot different than what we're doing here. And then the other thing that I have to figure out, and then the other bit I would need to figure out is, getting rid of the ability. Now, I think here's our ability evade. Wait, where was that? This is our parry. Our trigger would be press. Triggers when the input exceeds the actuation threshold. Well, let's do it on hold. So parry is going to happen on hold there. Now let's do it on press. Triggers on. Trigger fires once only when input exceeds the actuations. Oh, holding will not cause future triggers. Okay, so then let's hold on. Let's add one more thing. How do we clear the ability? What I want is this is more like a, let's make an input. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the F key. And And what we're going to do is we're going to do a trigger on release. Okay. And for our parry, let's go back here. Let's duplicate this. I don't like this, but we're just going to try it to work because I actually have to melee cancel. Parry cancel. Okay, and if we look at parry cancel, here's our action. Triggers. Oh, I wonder if there's conflict. Or if those are a conflict. Interesting. I need to take a look at this. It looks like I have double inputs. That maybe that's what's affecting our evades for our keyboard and mouse. We'll have to check that out. Anyway, so our trigger here is released. And we have evade. Hold on. This is going to be parry cancel. Okay, and then let's take a look at our shooter mannequin. I believe that's where it is. Is parry in here? Try jump. Move. Hold on, where's parry? No, it's not. It's got to be an input tag. Yes, it's going to be on the ability set. Shooter sword. So here's parry. So we're going to have to add one. Yeah, this is funky. I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. Let's delete this. Hold on. Let's delete this. Let's go back to shooter mannequin. We can do this. I believe what we can do is we can do input parry cancel. So here's our parry cancel. And what we can do is, interestingly enough, when it's triggered, I think what we want to do is we want to get the ability system and we want to cancel. Not input cancel. Let's remove abilities. Clear abilities. Clear ability. Clear all abilities with input. Let's clear an ability. Oh, but I need the handle for that. Bummer. That can't be it. There's got to be a way to, hold on, get the Lyra ability system component, and let's take a look at clear all abilities with input ID. That's interesting. That's not what we want. We can't stop, we can't clear, we can't remove. Oh, no. Can we do that? Remove. Hold on a second. Our ability does what? It adds a gameplay effect. The gameplay effect damage immunity parry is what? It has duration of 1. Oh my goodness, how is this working? It's almost like this ability is re-triggering. I shouldn't be immune. Wait a second. I should not be immune right now. I do not believe I should be immune. And the reason I believe that is because this is a 1 second immunity. but I also applied damage immunity to myself. That's why. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what happens is if I press F, I'm only going to be immune for a second this time. Okay, that's working. Okay, if I stop pressing F. Okay. I think we're closer. This may be a lot easier than that. So on our parry, if we change this to not be pressed, if we change this to none, hold on, let's double check. I either want none or pressed. Let's see it here. Okay, that's working. But if I hold, it doesn't work. If I press it right when he does it, it works. But if I hold, I'm not in that. It's the ability is. The problem is the ability's triggering. It fires, but I can't add any other abilities because I haven't ended the ability. And then, but the gameplay effect is not taking the duration of the ability itself. So what we need is to change the duration of the ability. We get this to infinite. So if we change it to infinite, now it will be there, but what we need to do is we need to change this so that when we not just parry, it's if we hold. So now if we come in here, okay. And what we need to do is we just need to figure out a way to end our ability properly. So let's just double check if we're ever hitting our end. And this is our last test for today, because I have to get to the day job. Okay, the ability is ending, and so it should be removing the gameplay effect. But somehow it's getting reapplied. And I can't move. Oh wait, there we go. But I'm no longer. So this ability does not. It ends once, but it doesn't actually cancel itself. All right, so we have some work to do. There's got to be a better way to cancel this ability, but unfortunately, I do need to head out to the day job. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Bunch of stumbling around today. I think basically what we're realizing is, well, I mean, we're doing what we want to be doing. Okay, we're trying to make the inputs feel good, so the combat feels good. I think that there is something in the whole attack evade thing that is going to feel good at some point. We need to get a couple tweaks in there for making it feel like you're not just, the enemies aren't way on you. So this is where the balancing comes in, right? Either our enemies are way too aggro, and there needs to be a window for the player to attack, a clear window, or it's never going to feel good. Or the player needs to be able to sit there and take a barrage of attacks and do either pushbacks. There needs to be some kind of agency for the player to be able to get in there, because as you saw earlier on, basically it wasn't near impossible. There was a timing to it, but it was pretty clear that it wasn't fun from the get-go. So we're going to be working on that. I'm going to be trying to tank that between now and the next live stream. The next live stream will be Sunday night at 10:15 Pacific Standard Time. Between now and then, I'm going to be basically working on the gameplay ability system, the enhanced movement, the enhanced input stuff, all of the things I talked about as far as implementing the double tap. I noticed a couple things I'm going to dig into. What I'll do is I'll try to get a whole bunch of those things sorted out, and I'll just do a summary of where I got to between sessions so that you all can kind of keep up with those kinds of things. Vinny, thanks for hopping in. Weston, it was always good to see you. Anybody else who's been hanging out in the wings, thanks for hopping in, checking out the stream. As always, this is about questions. This is meant to be an AMA Q&A, so those take priority. I'm happy to stop what I'm doing. My name's Kevin. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your week, and I will catch you on the next stream. Take it easy.